Today we wanted to talk about the home ownership and earning ability for you as a future homeowner. No?
Right, and this one is probably one of our most controversial videos of this whole portion because there are many people who tell you never ever break the 28-36% rule. You'll get in trouble, blah blah blah, and they give you all these cautionary tales. But we broke the rule ourselves, so we're gonna just kind of give you the other side of it to why maybe if you are looking at your earning ability, how much you intend to make in the future, and your income that you make at this current moment is not your forever income. Exactly. You will be in a much better financial place if you do kind of bend these rules. And there are sacrifices when you make these rules break these rules as well. So we kind of break down why maybe you should buy as much as you can. Maybe in certain situations it's okay, and we're going to talk about that if you really want to own a home and to build wealth by owning a home. Exactly.
For example, if you started getting with that 43% threshold limit for DTI to get the house, and let's say your income was
Let's go with ours, $43,000, right? That's what you were making?
Yeah.
$43,000. And we bought a house at the maximum income that we could possibly afford. And I was self-employed at this point. We still ended up buying a house, and it was a lot of the DTI, but it worked out for us. So we can give you our tale as well, to where if you break the rules, you will be okay.
And then what I wanted to ask is to tell you, when you are in the fixed mortgage and let's say you use all of the 43% capacity debt to income ratio to get a loan to become a homeowner, when your income is increasing, for example, in my case was $43,000 a couple of years ago, then your debt to income ratio actually works every time better and better. Every time that you got a promotion, you got a better paid job. Therefore, this ratio is going to be smaller and smaller, which means that you are building wealth.
So we're going to talk about the impact first. Should we do our introduction?
Yes.
Let's hit it. Hi, it's Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
Also call text all the time, 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. Don't be shy. Also grab our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below. Now, I want to quickly go back to understanding earnership. Yes, there is a 28-36 is a great rule. Most people should follow. We didn't.
It's an ideal rule.
It's an ideal rule. It doesn't mean that everything has to be ideal. Nothing is perfect. We broke the rule ourselves, which is why we're doing this. You have to always consider, what is your future income going to be? And if your future income is going to be more than it is at this moment, I'll just give a simple one. Maybe you're a resident and you're going to make 5 times more once you get out of being a doctor school. So your proportion to your income that is going to change over time to what your housing costs are needed right now and what your overall financial health will be in your future, because you'll make more money in the future. Now, there are challenges and risks to this.
Exactly. There are challenges. The first challenges, what is the first challenges? Is the income?
First of all, it's you're getting approved for the highest amount possible as well. You want to make sure that you have no other debts, which is something we had done. You want to leave, because you're not going to have you don't have a capacity for expenses in other areas. You want to make sure that when you're buying, you're considering all your needs as well. Also, when you're looking for savings and expenses, you have to take that into consideration as well. So we got our debt down to 0 in order to buy this home ourselves. So we also, because it limits our cash flow as well, so we also understood we need to eat at home. It was meals at home, no restaurants, nothing like that, in order to qualify for the highest amount of money that we could possibly show, keep our debts down as much as possible. There is strategy to this. We've already told you some of ours that we were doing because we talked about it ahead of time. And we had talked to lenders, I want to say 3 years before we were actually purchased. So we continued talking to like a lender every single year, and we didn't end up buying those because we moved the state. But it was a good conversation to have because we were getting ourselves financially ready to buy a home.
And the reason for that is the strategy first was like a budgeting and planning, because you wanted to know basically how your expenses grows when you are moving from one place to another place and according to your job. And also some have emergency funds.
Absolutely.
That you need to take care of it, because you always it's good to always prepare to have some cushion against the unforeseen financial situation.
Right.
That you don't, if something happens, you don't say, oh, I cannot buy anymore. I cannot be a homeowner anymore.
But when we're considering that you're going to make more money in the future, we have to take this into consideration now when buying. So as your career is growing and it's going to, and it's looking on the phase to increase, you are in a position to where not everybody has these type of things. Because over time, by owning a home that is fixed cost, that becomes less and less percent, you actually now have more disposable income. What is disposable income?
Disposable income means that you can use it more in a different situation.
You can use it for saving, retirement, investment opportunities. You can also even reduce your debt by paying down your mortgage faster and reducing your other debts overall because you have more disposable income in your pocket, which means over time you will be able to get rid of even more of this than you take on. So it comes with risk, but it comes with a lot of benefits to it as well. What about opportunities?
Well, the opportunity is like a accelerated mortgage payment, no? Because as my wife said, one of those benefits of this disposable income is that you can pay more toward your principal. And this way your loan basically got shortened.
Other things you can do is you can buy a house that needs work and then fully have the funds to do the work because you're improving these homes. Even if you bought brand new, because brand new is easy and brand new has a lot of benefits to it as well, your disposable income in the future will help you upgrade it. So maybe you bought it with a vinyl sheet, but you want LPV. You can do that when you start getting more income into your house. So you can change the vinyl sheet to nice flooring.
Therefore, you can do actually the some home improvement that my wife said that's give you some leverage, that money that you're saving for that job. This next thing that we wanted to talk about really is the long-term planning and home ownership.
Right, so you have to think about your lifestyle and your life changes that are coming. Now, for us, we had a family. We had a baby. We wanted to make sure our baby had a place to live. So we were thinking children, where is our family going to grow? Where are they going to be safe? Where are they going to be educated? Things like that. So we were really, really thinking about our family for ourselves.
And also goal for the retirement, no? That when you become a home ownership and let's say 30 years, if you don't pay any extra toward your, your principal, is still you're looking at having a goal to fully pay your house by the time of your retirement, that you don't have any like a housing expenses.
Yeah, that way you don't have any place, you don't have any housing fears.
Exactly.
Now we have a couple different example scenarios to throw at you on where maybe you should think about it. And we also have one cautionary on why you definitely should not go to above your that 28-36% rule. So just to give you the example. So one example, Jordan, an early career professional who just really kind of started his job in the steady line, buys his home that a mortgage initially takes up 35% of his income, but the industry is growing and his income is supposed to grow. So in the next 5 years, when his income does grow, what happened to Jordan?
Well, based of that,
his income doubles.
If the income double means your debt to income ratio that was 35% is gonna makes it in half, like a 17.5%. That means that he basically allowing to save significantly money for the next 5 years after that. No?
Absolutely.
And either pay toward the principal or, as you said, invest in something else.
Right, so the next two scenarios are kind of something we can both relate to very clearly. The next one is about a rising rental market. If the rental market is going crazy, it is a good time to buy. So let's talk about Alex and Sam, this couple.
Is a young couple.
Right, the couple who originally, they don't follow the rule with one income only. They decided to go together and combined, their housing payment is 30%. They live in an area, though, that is rapidly increasing in rental prices.
Exactly.
So in 5 years, their prices are fixed. All their friends who are stayed in rentals have all their crazy skyrocketing. They can't afford their apartments anymore, but they have a fixed payment, and it's a smaller part of their portion of their income. Maybe it does go down to 28%, even if they only got a little bit of rise of rent of price of income increasing, but it offered stability, and they're not dealing with that rental situation anymore.
Which was something similar to us.
Oh yeah, that was part of us too, where we definitely experienced crazy rents in different places to where you're like, why would we pay for that? So getting out of the rental game was a game changer for us.
Example of the next one is really
more us,
which is investing in the growing market. No, because sometimes what happened to us, like we use actually more than a 40% of our income to become a homeowner in the neighborhood that was desirable.
Now, we did this a couple of times when we were we bought our homes on the internet. We didn't actually go see these homes until we walked the homes both times.
Yeah.
Till we were buying the house, which was the day of. But anyway, what we did was we really studied the market. We said, okay, these homes are in these school zones. We picked our school zones. At least I picked the school zones because we were paying for kids. I said, okay, these are the ones in the school zones. These are the ones that are newer because we don't want to deal with things or have significant upgrades to where I don't have to replacing the roof, replacing the HVAC, replacing the gutters, replacing all of these things right away. So we had how old the house should be. Maximum, we said it has to be in these school zones. It has to be in our first house, it was either this house or no house at all. Right, if you remember, and we somehow won the house, and it was just a blessing. But either way,
the whole story is like even we went over 40% of our income, which was not comfortable for us at the moment. But
we picked neighborhoods and areas.
Area, and also we were thinking about with the fixed expenses that we have. And with a promotion or a better job,
in the future,
ownership is going to help us to actually occupy less of our income toward the housing costs.
And in the scenario for Mia that we were talking about, where she did 40%, once her job does increase in value, her home increased in value, her income grew as well. Now her fixed income can only be 25% to where she can use more, and she has a lot of money in a house because she bought in the best area that she could with her money, and she knew that was going to increase in price. Now, let's do the opposite. Let's say why you shouldn't do this.
Exactly. Therefore, we're going to go to the cautionary, basically, unstable job market. And the first thing is the high mortgage in a volatile industry.
Right. No? So in our little scenario, Chris, he's committed to a mortgage where it's maximum DTI. He's expecting his salary to increase. However, his market is highly volatile. AI came and took over the job. So he's now fired from his job, right? So, the robots came and they took over. Or something happens to where the industry just goes away. Yeah. So make sure you're paying attention to what's going on with your market and your industry as well, because you never know what's happening, but you should be able to see some signs. But his income does not increase. In fact, it decreases. And now his mortgage payment is very much a burden to him. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure, and he's probably going to have to sell the house in order to just walk away from this crazy negative situation. Mm-hmm. And then in the market downturns, it could even turn into a negative equity situation. Mm-hmm. So make sure when you're talking about your earnership, you have done your research on your earnership as well, because your path is your path.
Exactly. And then use the different tools that now you can find it anywhere, like a Bankrate, nerdwallet.com for the financial basically planning, and also calculating always your debt to income ratio with your credit score. That's going to give you always the leverage that when you are ready to take the plunge, you can be a homeowner.
And last thing I want to add to that as well, there's a lot of online tools you can look at as see the stability of your job. What are they predicting your market is going to be in the future? So say you work in automotive industry, what is that going to look like in 5 years? And I just made up one. If you look it up and you see that this industry is a growing industry, you're probably in a place to, and you're doing well and you've just started your industry, it's probably more likely to be good. Now, so you have to take into consideration what is happening. Because if I take a job in a market to where the robots can take over, then I've lost my job and I've lost my income. So you have to take that into consideration every single time. And there's online tools you can use to kind of calculate that too. So I just want to throw that out there. Keep that in mind.
Don't forget to call us at 252-327-3357.
Absolutely. And go to alandvictoria.com.
And share your thoughts and leave us a comment. We love to connect with you. And see you in the next podcast and video.